Hello, hello. I'm Zachary Hines, and this is what you missed at the Straz. Hello, welcome. I'm Zachary Hines, and I am with the ever so fabulous LeeAnn Day Douglas.
Hey, how's it going?
Good morning. It is another day in quarantine paradise.
Yes, it is, and a rainy day at that.
I have been waiting for this. I mean, I guess we had a few rainy days, but I love waking up to a thunderstorm.
Okay, so if the dog didn't have issues with going out in the rain, I would also love waking up to the rain. But he runs out, looks up at the sky, he's under the carport, and he says, "No, I'm not doing this." So, yeah, he was a little berserk this morning. He didn't get his walk at his usual time, and so, yeah, I wasn't feeling the rain this morning.
Oh, the Walligator is not a fan. Is he afraid of the thunder?
No, he's not afraid of thunder. He just is not a fan of getting wet. So,
Okay. Yeah, Bougie's the same. He does not like to get his fro wet. So, but he just kind of goes into hibernation mode when it's dark and stormy. He just gets all sleepy and cuddly. He's we're zooming right now so we can see each other as we podcast remotely. Bougie is sleeping behind me. He likes to rub it in my face while I'm working that he can just sleep all day.
very nice. I like it.
So, LeeAnn, we were supposed to watch Falsettos
We were.
on Broadway HD,
Yes, we were.
and I get a text message from LeeAnn.
Let's see exactly what it said.
It was too good.
It said, Falsettos is probably the worst musical I've ever watched.
That is very dramatic. I'm going to need my drama degree back.
Yes, and I got a what?
Just because it doesn't have a tap number doesn't mean it's a
Oh my
bad
gosh.
musical.
So from the opening number, I'm sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, this is awful. And of course, we have to back up. Art is completely subjective. So everyone who's talking about art in the room has to agree on the definition of what good art is and what bad art is. So in my subjective opinion, it was terrible. But that's just me. I mean, there are other people who love it. But I'm watching the opening number and I was like, ooh, this is not going to be good. And it was I was like, I'm gonna give it a chance, and so I gave it like 10 minutes, and then I gave it 14 minutes, and then I gave it 40 minutes, and I was like, I can't do this. I cannot watch one more minute of this show. It's awful. I didn't
She
like.
walked out,
I
ladies and
walked
gentlemen.
out, and I've only ever walked out of two other shows. So yeah, I couldn't do it. I had to turn it off and watch something else.
I love falsettos. I was actually in the falsettos in college. That show has kind of followed me along for a while because when I was in middle school, I was supposed to do it at this local theater company to play the little boy role. And then I ended up playing it in college. But it's a very moving piece of theater.
If you can get to the end.
If you can, and most people can. It's
That's
William
funny.
William Finn did the music, 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee.
Oh, which I love that, but the music, I thought the music was terrible. The jokes were terrible. I hated it. I just hated it. And I did send Zach a Lilo and Stitch, a Stitch animated GIF with him like tearing his eyes out of his face. So yeah, I'm sorry. It was not for me.
Falsettos was a no-go, although I highly encourage you, dear viewers, to go check it out. It's a wonderful piece of theater. I think it has great music, and it has a very heartwarming and important story from a very specific time in our recent history. And it kind of relates to another pandemic, so it's very relatable, unfortunately. But so we had to think on our feet of what to watch.
So I said, "What are we gonna watch?" And Zach says,
Well, this weekend they released a streaming at home anniversary. What was it? It was a birthday celebration for Sondheim's 90th birthday of pretty much every Broadway star from the past 20 years tuning in from their homes to sing Sondheim songs. I mean, the quarantine gods were shining down on me this past weekend. It's exactly what I needed.
so I have not seen, I've only seen 3 Sondheim shows. So for me, I did not recognize most of the music.
What? Okay, what are the 3 Sondheim shows you've seen?
Gypsy, West
Gypsy,
Side,
which we so 2 of the 3 you saw in quarantine?
Gypsy, West Side Story, and Sweeney Todd.
OMG.
Right. So I didn't recognize a lot of the music, so it was not as enjoyable for me because it wasn't a review, it was kind of like an introduction.
But what a great introduction to have some of the best talent on Broadway to sing some of these beautiful songs, and I mean, they had lots of deep cuts. I mean, they were all deep cuts for you because
Yeah.
although but, like, Judy Kuhn, is that how you say her name?
Don't know.
She sang so one of my have you ever seen the movie Dick Tracy
It was a long time
with
ago.
Madonna?
Yeah, but that was a great song. When she sang it, it was beautiful.
What can you lose? It's so good. Madonna would sing that as a duet with Mandy Patinkin. Fun fact, Madonna teamed up with Sondheim and recorded before Lady Gaga did this whole Tony Bennett thing. Madonna teamed up and had a full Sondheim like 1920s cabaret album.
And of course, you know this because you're a huge Madonna fan.
Of course, I used to. So there's a song that won the Oscar. Sooner or later, you're gonna be mine. I used to perform that dance for my grandma every Friday night. She would get a personal cabaret burlesque show from her 6-year-old grandson.
That's funny.
I was obsessed. I was so thrilled that they sang because not a lot of people know that Sondheim wrote the music for that movie.
Right. Right.
But he's just such a versatile. I mean, his lyrics they just kind of cut straight to the core. I love listening to how he plays with words and how he plays with rhythm too, and the rhythm of speaking and music and combining those two. I think it's really like no other composer.
Yeah, I found some of the stories interesting that they were telling the stars about when they first met Stephen Sondheim and working with him and what that was like. Like Jason Alexander was talking about, when he met him, he told him, I'm not really good with chromatics, singing sharps and flats. So, you might want to stay away from those in whatever songs you're going to have me singing. And so he came back the next day and Sondheim had written this song that was all sharps and flats. And he was like, yeah, you're going to learn how to do this. So it was just like, yeah, that's those little stories like that really made it special.
Yeah, I love inside like I love hearing kind of the behind the scenes stuff of Broadway and cuz it really is such a community, and they all know each other and it was a great celebration of Sondheim, but it was really a great moment of solidarity just to see everyone coming together and collaborations. I mean, everyone knows the most iconic moment of the evening that everyone's been posting about on social media is "Here's to the Ladies Who Lunch."
That was brilliant. But there were a couple of them. There were a couple of them that were pretty brilliant. I'll hit one after we talk about Ladies Who Lunch. But the Ladies Who Lunch was really great.
Oh, yeah, I mean, can we just have weekly cabarets from Christine Baranski, Meryl Streep, and Audra McDonald? The Audra reveal just floored me. I was dead. I died for like 10 seconds.
I know, me too. And they were all in these white, fluffy robes with their choice of alcohol in their hands and singing Here's to the Ladies Who Lunch. And it was brilliant.
Who knew that hearing Meryl Streep use a cocktail shaker as a percussion instrument was what I needed? There are good things coming out of this quarantine.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I found my attention wandering at points during the night. Not during that song, but there are of course, because I didn't know the music. So you knew the music. So for me, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know this. I'm going to pay attention to other things. So I was paying attention to where, okay, a few different things, where certain stars decided to sing from. So
Yes.
one thing I've noticed during this quarantine, especially if you're watching the news, like the local newscasters are always like streaming from in front of a bookcase of some kind. So if you
Yes,
have,
the
yes,
bookcase
Mhm.
backdrop is very popular in the journalism industry
It's
to,
very
I guess,
popular. So
show that they're
Patty,
smart.
I don't know, Patti Lupone sang in front of a bookcase though. Um, and who else sung in front of a bookcase? There was somebody else, and I can't remember who it was that sung in front of a bookcase, and they had all kinds of travel books on their bookcase. Like I was looking to see what do they read, and so they were reading travel books and art books, and this one was about Irish art, I think, and which is
Oh, wow,
pretty
you are
cool.
really
Yeah, I was really because I didn't know the song and I didn't know the star, so I was like, I don't know this person, I don't know this song. What do they have on their bookshelf? So I was just like looking at that. But there were a lot of bookcases. But Laura Benanti sang from the floor of her bathroom. So I don't know if she has rowdiness going on in her house, so that was the only private space she could get, or if she finds the acoustics better in the bathroom.
bathroom acoustics are the best.
Right. So she's in this she's sitting on the floor, which I couldn't get that. I'm like I couldn't sing the way she sings in a seated position like that. But she's sitting on the floor. I think she was wearing jeans, and she's got this gray ceramic tile surrounding her. So I'm like she's in the bathroom. I wonder how often Laura Benanti sings in the shower. So yeah, but and of course she was fabulous. But yeah, I was like, oh, she's singing from the bathroom, and she was the only one I could tell that sang in the bathroom.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. I mean, first of all, I love that you can get like a little sneak peek in some of their homes. Um, but also it was interesting to see how they approached it. Like Sutton Foster, she had that kind of crinkly white backdrop.
It was like a quilt of some kind that she had pinned up so that she had a backdrop instead of singing in front of her house.
Which
Yeah.
I loved that song too. There's so many songs that I really forgot about, or you don't, really associate. There's the really popular ones, like from the really big musicals, but then I was like, oh, this is such a beautiful song, and I just love Sutton Foster so much. She's probably one of my favorite Broadway divas.
So am I the only one that was disappointed that both Laura Benanti and Patti LuPone did not sing songs from Gypsy?
I know. Well, and Joanna Gleason not singing from her Baker's Wife song. I'm like,
I know. Why didn't they do that? I was like, "Come on, Patty! I want to hear Mama Rose," and she didn't sing a gypsy song. And same thing with Laura Benanti. I was like,
well,
"These are your iconic roles. I mean, come
I guess
on."
because they're not there. He just wrote the lyrics for Gypsy, so maybe they wanted to sing like a full on Sondheim song.
Oh, maybe. Okay, but still,
I know I would have loved to see. So, have you been watching Patti LuPone's basement videos?
no.
Oh my goodness, she's been, like, giving tours of her basement. She's just a wild personality on her own, and, like, some of the things you'd find down there are it's just, like, different artifacts and things from her past that are popping up.
Well, she had this really weird doll or marionette or something like that sitting on one of the shelves of the bookcase she was singing in front of, which I found really interesting. And there were things that they looked like they could have been created by a grandchild or a niece or a nephew that were on the bookcase. And of course, I'm just making this up, but who knows? But yeah, I found it interesting that Mandy Patinkin sang like in the park,
He did such a good job, though.
and he had no accompaniment.
Yeah. I thought he was incredible. I really liked the acoustic version of Joanna from Sweeney Todd.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really clever, and you don't normally hear a female singing that song too. So I thought that was really it sounded so beautiful and it was surprising.
Yeah, and Bernadette Peters sang without accompaniment from her house.
Ugh, no one is alone. So good.
There you go. My very second favorite of the night was Randy Rainbow. Do you remember what he did from Sweeney Todd?
Why am I forgetting?
He did the By the Sea.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Yes, yes, your favorite Sweeney song.
my very favorite one from Sweeney Todd. And of course, he's like, Mr. Um, Sondheim, you never have great songs for men. So he puts on this fluffy cap and sings the female song from Sweeney Todd, By the Sea. So yeah, and it was fabulous, absolutely fabulous.
There was so much that like I could watch it probably 3 times and get like different things from it. Did you so you haven't seen this is a shock and a tragedy that needs to be remedied immediately that you haven't seen Into the Woods.
I have not. I know.
Um because so Neil Patrick Harris did the witches rap from Into the Woods. Greens, greens, and nothing but greens.
It was great. That was really, really great.
Oh my
So,
goodness. It's so you would love Into the Woods.
well, I'm gonna have to watch it.
I think that should be our next award.
No, you know,
Ugh, that's a
next time we agreed to watch Macbeth.
okay, 2 weeks from now.
Okay, 2 weeks from now we'll watch Into the
Especially
Woods.
because Leanne's Zoom background is a forest. She is literally going into the woods.
I am in the woods right now, so yes.
Into the woods. Da, 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 da. It's so good. It's so good. And it's very relevant because it's basically about the world, like what happens when the world comes crashing down.
Prophetic.
Yeah. Well, it's supposedly well we'll save it for when you actually see it.
So is it on Broadway HD, or will I have to YouTube that or Netflix that?
I don't know. I'm sure we'll find well cuz there's a movie
Right.
version with Meryl. And then they also have a filmed version of the original Broadway show with Bernadette Peters.
Hmm.
So we're going to have to think long and hard about which one we want to watch. But I also think which one is easier to access will.
Right. Yeah, it'll probably be if the one is on Netflix, then I might watch that because that seems to be easier to find. Um, because I could not find. Well, I mean, they didn't have this. I thought that this Sondheim thing was going to be on Broadway HD, but it wasn't. And I was like, I can't find it. I can't find it. I can't find it. And he sends me a YouTube link. I was like, oh, I was looking in the wrong place.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So also
So.
speaking of how all of the actors had different kind of backdrops and it was interesting to see where they were. I also thought it was interesting that they all had different kind of like sound setups too. Like some people
Yeah, some people had full studios.
yeah. And then
Mm-hmm.
others you could tell were like just like singing into their computer.
Yeah, yeah. And the musicians, most of the musicians, because they did an overture at the top.
With Steven Schwartz.
Yeah, with Broadway musicians, and they most of them had their own studios, so they were in their own studios, um, playing their part, and it was gorgeous. It was just gorgeous.
I think it's just so amazing to see. I mean, artists are just so resilient in how we can continue to share the art of performance. And while nothing can compare to the live experience, I think this is a really interesting opportunity for all of us to innovate, and particularly the performing arts, to think of new ways to reach people. And, you know, I'm sure you're not the only person who didn't really have a lot of exposure to Stephen Sondheim who are tuning in. And how amazing that people are getting access to this kind of performance and this kind of art in a way that they probably did not beforehand. So I think a lot of the stuff that people are coming up with and doing will continue and should continue.
Well, it was really cool. So I liked it much better than falsettos. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And
Yeah.
I still am floored that you did not like falsettos because it's such a good show. It's very falsettos, it's about this man. He has a wife and a child, and he is hiding the fact that he's gay. He comes out and is kind of navigating living this new life with his partner, and this is all happening in the 80s, so when it was far more taboo, and also amongst the AIDS crisis.
Hmm.
So um it's a really, I think, interesting story about a family. And it's kind of like, it reminds me a lot of, did you ever watch that show Transparent?
I tried to watch Transparent. I didn't like it.
Well, there we I should have asked that before I suggested, because I feel like it's very similar in terms of, I mean, it's a Jewish family where the patriarch is coming out. In Transparent, they're coming out that they're actually the matriarch. And in Falsettos, they're coming out that they are gay.
Right, right. So I think it's probably for me how the story is told. Like I said, I didn't enjoy the music and I didn't like the
March,
humor.
march, march of the falsettos, march of the falsettos.
I didn't like the humor. I didn't find it funny.
Oh, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, so how are you and I friends? I don't understand. So I think it's probably a little more non-traditional musical theater, and I am a traditionalist. So I love shows like Wicked and Les Mis and Phantom and
She loves the
Falsettos.
big blockbusters.
That's right. Falsettos is probably just a little too fringe for me.
And ladies and gentlemen, LeeAnn rewatched She Loves Me.
I did. I watched it again. I watched it again. Yes.
I get a text, what was it, last Friday, where you're like, I'm rewatching She Loves Me.
Yes, I loved it so much. And I didn't know that I would. The first 10 minutes, I was like, I don't know. I don't know how this She Loves Me show is going to be because I'm not feeling this at all. And I was like, I'm going to give it another 10 minutes. And it did. It picked up in the next 10 minutes. Thank goodness. And then I loved it and I watched it again. But I gave Falsettos 40 minutes. So I just, that was it. That was it. So,
And that's the great thing about art, is that it is such, while it's a shared experience, it's also an individual experience, and everyone receives it differently, and we all have our own tastes, and that's what makes it so wonderful.
that's right. And that's okay.
That is, yeah, that's the whole purpose. That's the whole
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
That's why we're
So
talking about it.
that's right. So next time we're gonna watch Macbeth.
Mackers. And we can say
Wh-
it because we're not in a theater.
and that's starring Patrick Stewart.
Yes.
So that should be. I love Patrick Stewart, so that should be fun.
Well, it's very relevant because we've all been washing our hands like Lady Macbeth
That's
in
right.
her famous out damn spot.
Yes. So we're gonna watch that. I've never seen Shakespeare performed, so that'll be a
Wait,
good one for
wait.
me.
What? What? Uh, What? You've never seen Shakespeare performed?
No,
Ever?
never. I've read it. I've never seen it performed. We've talked about
Oh
this. I
my
know. I know.
God. Wow. Okay. Shakespeare, Sondheim. It's the S's. We're
It is the S.
starting.
We're in the
To,
S's.
today is brought to you by the letter S.
We're going backward. We did Sweeney Todd. We did She Loves Me. Now we're doing Shakespeare. So there you go.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. So I give the Sondheim special 90 out of 90 years of Sondheim's life. How amazing. 90 years old, still as relevant as ever.
I really like that.
Goals. I mean, when I'm 90, I want to be bringing everyone together, the best of the best, and still be celebrating more than ever.
Yep. I want that too.
All right. Well, it was great chatting with you as always, LeeAnn. Listeners, take care of yourself, take care of each other. We'll need it as we're experiencing Macbeth next week. It's intense.
Yep. Yep.
Spoiler alert.
Yep. All right. Cool. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.